Good morning. Where to start? I've so much to say this morning, it might have to be a two-parter. I'll start with saying yesterday I went for a walk because I had to think about what I was going to do in the event that the electricity is gone or taken away. And this is negative visualization. It's preempting an event and deciding what your best response to that event will be. And even though I don't suffer from stress, this is a very effective way of dealing with stress. You preempt a stressful situation. For example, if you're going to the doctor and you're going to be told that you have a week to live, you have your questions wrote out in relation to whatever the event is, the questions you'd like. You sit down when you're I'm never not of a calm mind, but previous to my current state, like that, if you preempt this, because I taught this years ago before I ever started to study Stoicism, but if you preempt a stressful situation and then you sit down and you write out your questions and choose your response before you actually encounter the stressful situation, or in the midst of the stressful situation, which might invoke a cortisol response which inhibits your ability to think. But at least if you have your questions thought out and written down, in the event, like if you can't think like me, you have to have your questions written down, or they're just out the window as well. You have to have your questions written down. For example, like for my, if in the eventuality that I end up like that they manage to catch me, and or I voluntarily go back, which I possibly will, that I'm in court again, I already have my questions, my whole case made out, all my questions made out, so I don't get caught like I did the last time. The last time I got caught, like I froze like a rabbit in the headlamps. Like I had all my defence, I had all my questions in relation to the wine cellars and everything else. And when I was asked any more questions, I couldn't think. So I had to learn from this experience. And for round two, I have all my questions written out, even though it's possible now I've evolved to a stage that I won't need it. But regardless, anyway, I still have, like, the case is that was 2015. But it'll be obviously, like, these things don't go away, like, it's very possible I'll be lifted on me the moment I land back in Dublin Airport. Well, I don't know what the situation is, but it's not to be worried about at the moment anyway. I'm not going back. But so I had to think about what the situation was in relation to electricity. As I said, this is negative visualization, which is a stoic exercise. And I answered him, and I said to him, whatever, and I said, like, maybe the best thing we can do in the event of the electricity being taken away is turn this into the ultimate squat house experience. And I said, I'm sure there's loads of Americans, we're going to call them Yanks, but I want to call them Americans, would be happy to pay top dollar for that experience. Because it brings them back to reality, out of a fake empire, which I'll come to in a second. Brings them back out to reality, and it is exactly that, an experience that they need. And I'll tell you why now in a second. And as I said, because this is like gives them a chance to reevaluate their values. Gives them an opportunity to reevaluate their values, and it's sort of like a fight club thing. It also teaches them, like, that they can which I'm tying into my next thing anyway. It teaches them that they can survive, and it's sort of like a survival skills, but urban camping surviving skills, if you know what I mean. Should they ever find themselves in the situation that I found myself in. And I won't say I don't wish that upon them, because I do. I wish them, because it's a a truly marvelous experience when you really get down to it, and you overcome it and you adapt and overcome. And this is a really would be sort of an invaluable experience to have, because everybody talks about creating mindsets and creating mindsets and mindsets and regurgitating the mindsets. They're all in the mindsets bubble. They're all in the mindsets bubble, you know. Oh, mindset. Pay me $3,000 and I'll create you a new mindset. No, that's, you know what I mean? You want to create your new mindset. You want to be landing somewhere exactly like here and meeting somebody exactly like me, because well, difficulty strengthen the mind as labour does the body. And believe me, that is the only way you're going to strengthen your mind. It's not with books. It's not our books. Wisdom is not found in books. Wisdom is not found in books. The only thing you're finding in books is delusions. Especially these self-help books. You have to be willing to immerse yourselves in there, and willing to, the obstacle is the way. The obstacle is the way. The impediment to action becomes the action. That's Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action becomes the action. This advances the action. The impediment to action advances the action, and that's what you want to be. You want to be embracing this. Yeah, this is. You want to be willing to subject yourself to adversity and to hardship, and learn to adapt and overcome it. And be thankful that you have some guidance to teach you philosophy that gets you through it. And this was going to be my next part of this. I then continued to think, after saying to him about the ultimate squat house experience. I said, we can strike up the old Barbie there, and we can boil a kettle on that, and we can cook on that until such time as we have enough revenue made to buy a gas cooker and continue to evolve. But what we actually have is what Thomas More was an advocate of, is and Nietzsche, is a reset. And this is very much why I like the whole their rainbow gathering, because this was what I thought was the reset. But then I didn't agree with their reset, because they were bringing an awful lot of their conditioned values and imposing them on the reset. In other words, they weren't doing a whole lot fucking different. They brought the Me Too movement with them. They brought the hierarchical systems with them, even though they tried to pretend there are no hierarchical systems. There has to be some hierarchical system. Because obviously when it came to imposing their rules, like, because there was rules, there was no satellite fires, there was no drink, no drug. Well, no, there was drugs, there was grass, no drink, but no sugar, no coffee. They put this in an isolated area to one side, but they were bringing all these things, like this is prohibition, and they were bringing all these things and these conditioned values with them, and they weren't really like questioning the conditioned values. They were just trying to create but they were very much creating a society in which they were trying to escape from. But initially, what they were doing was just at the foundation of this society, if you know what I mean, going around with no clothes on and everything else. And then this is like Animal Farm, and after a while then the pigs then have start wearing clothes and start adapting the same traits as the humans, and start being of the very same as the humans were. There was no difference there. They couldn't tell the difference between the pigs and the humans. But for this, you have to have a revaluation of values. And it's not forced. This has to be at an individual level, not imposing your morality or forcing anybody to change their values by coercion or force. This has to be, you have to be willing to subject yourself to this and be willing to question your own values. This is why I come on here and I don't do like others do, and I don't try to indoctrinate you in any regard or another. I just tell you stories about my life, and I give you things to think about, and I encourage you not to judge me. But if you want to judge me, you fucking feel free. I couldn't give a fuck. But you can choose not to judge me and learn something. And I'm not saying all I'm saying is to be learned is think for yourself. That's all I'm encouraging you to do, is think for yourself. I'm not trying to indoctrinate you in any manner or another. I'm just trying to encourage you. I'm giving you a different perspective and an opportunity to question your own values and to question your own morality. I'm not trying to impose mine on you, but my morals are fairly loose, I can tell you, and so as well, my values, my values. Well, I'm still uh, establishing my values, but one of them is people over profit. People over profit. People are the essence of life. People are the essence of life. Yeah. So back to the squat house. So what I decided was that rather than the ultimate squat house experience, I've now came to the conclusion that a Stoic school would be a better option. And for a Stoic school, we don't need electricity. But in saying that, if we have electricity, so best, and I hope, I'd like to think it might be left here. But if it's not left here, I'm fully prepared for the to adapt and overcome, because this is true intelligence. It's your ability to adapt, your ability to adapt, your ability to adapt. And in order to test your intelligence, you want to be testing your ability to adapt. But that's true intelligence. That's true intelligence. I bet you the little one has no problem adapting. And I know she's going through hell because she's following a very similar path to my own. So as I say, same teacher. And he doesn't spare you. But this is, but now this will be part 2 of this, because what we're actually experiencing here is burn it all down and bring the ashes to me. Destruction and creation. So what we're having is a destruction of the current value system. But I just want to say about the Stoic school. Plato in Plato's Stoic school had no electricity, but he had a gym. So maybe my intention is this will be the Stoic school. This could be the Stoic school. Now, again, this is only a hypothesis. This is not my hostel. The owner could tell me to fuck out with my fucking ideas for my squat house and my Stoic school, and that's perfectly okay. As I say, I'll deal with it. You know, but. As I say, this is only a hypothesis. But a Stoic school, and Plato had no electricity in his Stoic school, but what it gives people is the opportunity to adapt and overcome. Like, the hippies had relished this experience. They'd fucking loved it. They'd fucking lapped this shit up. Now, we'd have to think about whatever we have to do with the sheets and whatever, but it's sort of like an urban camping thing. And maybe we won't have to push it that far. There's plenty of other difficulties here without that. But as I say, it's the opportunity for a reset, and I most certainly would embrace the challenge. Anyway, I tell you that, I fucking just said to myself, whoa, let's get stuck in, let's do this. This is the fucking ultimate reset. To be able to tell them to stick their electricity 2 miles up their fucking arse, which at the same time makes us completely self-sufficient and independent yeah, whereas very much we are a part of the state, we're independent from the state. We're independent from state control. Do you understand? Fully, because this was my intention when I got, well, initially in this hostel, and then I was out of this hostel and was in another hostel. So nearly every hostel I've been in, and even if I was to have the opportunity to open my own hostel, free electricity is very, very important. Free electricity, and I've been looking at several ideas in which I could do this free electricity. For example, if I open if it's not this one that I put the free electricity in, or even this one that we do the no electricity in, and go from there, which would be the ultimate reset, would be one in Velengrad where we can use the spa water to do our own little dynamo and have free electricity, and then store it in a battery and use it. But anyway, so independence, and this is in line with my own philosophy. A man has to be able to stand upright and not be held upright by others. And then when a man can stand upright and not be held upright by others, we can then work together to create whatever the fuck we like, but with a new value system, a revaluation of values. Like, well, now, and this was the second part what I was going to go into, is how I was going to tie in my own experience in destruction and creation. But this will be about the fake empire, but I'll tell you about this tomorrow. I'll tell you about the fake empire tomorrow, and I'll outline all this. But let me tell you something now, and I'll tell you, that's another story I want to tell you. I want to tell you another story about when you haven't got the value system, or you haven't got the same soul as me or the little one. Philosophy will get you through this, but we're fortunate enough in that we're being taught philosophy, but philosophy, you need philosophy, believe me, you need philosophy to be able, or because if the whole thing falls apart and you don't adapt, and you don't have any leadership, or you don't have anyone to teach you philosophy, and the whole thing falls apart, believe me, you go with the rest of the ashes. Like, you go with the rest of the ashes. You just burned up, you know. Very funny. Listen, let me get off this, my time's up, bye.